Hey YouTube, it's Justin, aka Demonic Sweaters, here with another gear review. Today we're going to be taking a look at this Donner Spacline DMK 25 Midi controller. Now this thing looks really cool. I used to have an Akai MPK Mini 2 for a couple of years, but it actually stopped working. So Donner sent me this to take a look at, and thanks Donner, but I think it looks pretty neat. So I'm going to hook it up to Ableton and see what we can do with it. It has a lot of features in this tiny little controller. A lot of manual, basically customization controls that you can do right from the controller, which I like. The Akai made you use a piece of software to make any editing changes you wanted to make to the controller, but this one actually has all the stuff on the surface of the controller, and it has a pretty detailed manual, which I have right here, as to how to do that. So real briefly, let me just go over some of the features that it actually has. It has a pitch and mod ribbon on it. Well, actually, I have it right here. Let me just show you guys. Right here, it has pitch and modulation ribbons on it here. It has 8 pads, like finger drumming type pads, which is pretty much the same as the MPK Mini. And both those could be used as, pad controllers, but they also do various controls for the MIDI controller itself. As you can see here, it also has transport function on the surface here, which I don't think the MPK had. Not the MK2 version didn't have anyways. It also has 4 faders and then 2 banks of these 4 faders, so it gives you 8 total. Then it also has 4 knobs with 2 banks as well, giving you 8 total as well. So that's pretty nice. Overall, it looks really cool. It's got these kind of LED light up things for the ribbon controllers here. And then the pads light up when you hit them. I already have it plugged into Ableton there. But let's go ahead and hook it up for real. I'm going to switch over to the camera on the PC so you guys can see how this thing really works when you start using it in a real situation. So let's go ahead and check it out. Oh yeah, before we do that too, be sure to follow me on Spotify or Apple Music or wherever you stream your music. There's some links down below. You can also check out my record label, which is anthillrecordings.bandcamp.com. Also, I have these really cool t-shirts. If you want to pick one of these up, there's a link down below as well. Anyway, let's get on with the video. Okay guys, I hooked it up to my computer and Windows just automatically downloaded and installed the correct driver to make it work. I didn't have to do anything in that regard. After this, I'm going to test it with my MacBook too, so we can get a thorough test of this device and make sure it works on both systems. So anyway, let's go ahead and get it set up inside of Ableton. So let's go into our options here, then go to preferences, and then you should see it listed under your MIDI ports. In and out. Now I did test already that if it would work as a Mackie control surface. That does not function. So you're gonna have to do everything manually, which isn't that big of a deal, but it's it would be nice if it had a script, an Ableton script, so it would have like a lot of the stuff pre-programmed, but no big deal. So let's go ahead and go into the inputs and select track, sync, and remote. And then our outputs, I'm going to go ahead and do that too, even though it's probably pointless to do that, but I'm going to do it anyways. And now I'm going to just create some tracks here. Let's drag some instruments. I have a drum track on number 1. And let's do some instruments. So let's do like a bass. I'm just selecting sort of random stuff here. Do a bass on number 2, and then let's do, I don't know, some kind of synth keys, sure, tremolo synth piano. I'm just doing all MIDI here because obviously that's what we're working with, MIDI controller. And what else? Smooth synth lead, sure. So that gives us 4, but I want to do 5 because I want to see how the banks work on the extra faders there. So if we want to use like another fader, so let's select one more. So we have 5 tracks. All right, so let's go ahead and start mapping things via MIDI. So let's go into our MIDI mapping function here. And first I'm going to map my transport. However, one thing I do know, because I tested this a second ago, is our record transport, we're going to have to change this a little bit. So And what I mean is if I map this right now, let's turn off mapping, and I press record, you'll notice, you see how it went on and then back off again as soon as I let go? And the reason is because these buttons, the transport buttons on here, are basically they're set to momentary by default. So the way to change that, it's actually all in the manual, which is very good. You don't need any software to edit the function of this MIDI controller. You do it all from the MIDI controller, which is cool. I like that. Actually, a lot of controllers you have to open up another app and go in there and do everything through software. I like the fact that this one has you can program it using the controller itself, so that's pretty cool. And the way to do this, what we want to do here to change this to a toggle switch, is we're going to hold down edit right here. If we look and see octave and transpose, there's this line that says edit, it has them connected. So that just means press those together and then it goes into edit mode. And this is how you make all the editing changes on this MIDI controllers, by going into edit mode like that. So now I'm going to press the mode key here, and then I'm going to press the record key there, and now I'm going to press 0, 0, and then enter. And now that's going to set that to toggle. And now you can see that, let's go back into Ableton there, you can see up here on Ableton that the record is actually going and it's recording. So let's go ahead and stop. And the thing is, when you do that though, you might have noticed that I had to press record again to get the light to go off. However, that doesn't actually make it record again. Let me just give it another example. So it's recording. Now I press stop, but you'll notice, oh, I never mapped stop. Hold on. Let's map stop. So if I press stop, it stops, but the record light is still on. And this is, unfortunately, is just a side effect of not having Mackie control enabled. So to get rid of that, you just press it again and it goes off, and you'll notice that it didn't record when I pressed it again. So it's not a huge deal. It's not a deal breaker to me, but some people might find that annoying. Now, somebody might have written a script for this thing already, I don't know, that would handle all of that, which is possible, but I don't know that yet. So anyway, let's go back here, and we're going to go to our track 1 where our drum track is, and we have some drum sounds here. This is 707, which is my favorite, one of my favorite roll-in drum machines of all time. But you might notice there, the velocity sensitivity is actually quite good, but I don't like velocity sensitivity on my pads when I'm finger drumming. I like them all to be full level all the time. And the Akai controllers have a setting where you can do that. And actually, so does this one. And the way to do that, we go back into edit mode again, hold down the 2 keys there to go into edit mode. Now we're going to press curve, press the pads, or any pad, it'll tell us that we're editing the pads. And then we're going to go 0, 4, press enter. Now I'm getting all the numbers you have to enter out of the manual. So now you'll notice that's all full volume. So that's pretty cool. Now let's check out our pad banks and see. Yeah, see, that changed to the other bank. That's pretty cool. And you can edit the notes of the banks if you want. But having the basic ones here, like, I like how it mapped those because that's all the basic pads you would use for a beat. So that's cool with me. We have hi-hat here, open hi-hat, another kick drum there for when you're doing things like this. You could go, oops, hit my tom by mistake. But if I wanted to crash, instead of having to go like this, you can go like that because there's another kick right there. That's weird. Why am I getting a second pad there? Seems to be fine now. Okay, so let's go ahead and record a little loop. So let's turn the click on. Oops, that wasn't good, but that's okay. I can work with that. So let's select our loop section here, and I'm just going to do those first 2 bars where I didn't screw up. Okay, now let's hear that. Okay, let's map some more things here. So we have, we mapped stop and we mapped record, but we didn't map play yet. So let's map play. And let's also map our fader here and our pan here. And what else? Well, let's map all the faders while we're at it. Okay, so the 5th fader, let's change our fader bank. So this should allow us to map to that. Let's see if that worked. Yeah, 5, 7. Okay, so now if we switch back, let's test all these faders. So there's number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, and then number 5. So that all worked good. That's very cool. Now let's do the pans. So we already did the first one. Let's do the second one, third one, fourth one. And then change our knob bank. Knob. Okay. Now that all should work too. So let's test those. Yeah, working there, working there, working there, working there. And there. Very cool. I like this. Okay, so let's test some of the synth playing abilities. There's our mod wheel. Those ribbon controllers are pretty neat. Okay, so let's record another loop. Crazy about that synth sound. It's a weird tone. Let's pick something else. Alright, let's get rid of that one and let's put something else there. Oh, I didn't test the octaves yet, so let's test that. edit that a little bit. Let's see, attack, filter attack. Why I'm getting a double. Oh, I know why. Because that's still set to toggle. So let's turn this one. Or no, it's not set to toggle. So let's set the play button to toggle as well. So that way that stops giving me that double hit. So let's go back here to mode. We're going to press that. Go to 0, 0, enter. There we go. Okay. So that takes care of that. What else? What else didn't I test? So it has a transpose key too, which is pretty interesting. Which that's actually really nice. I have a small MIDI controller like that has a transpose key. That's pretty rare. Little controllers like this usually don't have those. So that's pretty cool. Transpose, if you didn't know, it's not like an octave key. It basically goes up, you know, by half steps. So keys feel pretty good. I mean, they feel as good as any other MIDI mini key that I've felt. Overall, it's pretty solid. So one thing I do want to test though is that sustain pedal. I'm going to see if I can hook that up. Let me pause the video and I'll be right back. Okay, so actually I don't know if this is going to work. All I have is this basically full-size sustain pedal jack. So I'm going to see if I have an adapter that'll allow me to use this in that mini jack on the back. I think I have an adapter that'll fit, but I don't know if because it's stereo, yeah, right here. This is like a stereo adapter. We'll see if it works. Maybe it will. That'd be cool. So let's just plug that into there. And then plug this into the sustain jack on the back. See if that works. Did we get a MIDI signal? No, we're not getting a MIDI signal. So I don't think that's going to work. But I think it has to do with the fact that this is a stereo. Well, let me unplug it halfway. Sometimes that'll trick it. Nope. Oh, I saw it for a second there. It's definitely the adapter isn't really the right kind of thing. So that's not going to work with what I have. So I don't know where. Actually, I don't even know where to get a sustain pedal that has an 1/8 inch jack on it. All the ones that I have all have 1/4 inch. Yeah, it'd be cool though. What else can I use here? Do I have anything else? Let me check. Oh wait, I think I do have. I think I do have a mono. eighth inch adapter somewhere. Oh, here it is. But it's, oh, okay. So this is like crazy adapting here. This actually adapts from stereo to mono. So this might actually make it work. Of course, this is like a crazy amount of adapters to use just to get a sustain pedal working. But we'll see if this will do it. See if that works. Yes, it is. So you can actually, let's see. Okay. All right, that's really, really cool if that actually works. Yeah, having a sustain pedal is nice. And like I said before, I've never seen one on such a small MIDI controller before. So that's actually a really cool feature. I'll probably just have to order a sustain pedal that has a 1/8 inch jack on it, because I don't want to have that ridiculous line of adapters like connected out of the back like that. Although I guess I could. It doesn't really hurt anything. But it's not really ideal. But anyway, let's move on. I guess I tested pretty much everything I need to test here on the Windows version, so I guess the next test is to test this thing out on my MacBook. So let's go ahead and do that now. Okay, so I do believe it does work in Mac as well, and yes, it does. So I don't know if you guys can hear this. I've never done a screen recording on my MacBook before, so I'm not sure if this is even working. But let's go ahead and add some kind of instrument in here. And just so you guys can see, here is the MIDI controller. So yeah, everything seems like it's working fine. So yeah, Mac, PC, whatever you got, it seems to work just fine. All right, so my final thoughts on the DMK 25 Mini is it's pretty darn cool. I like it, actually. My only real criticism of it is I wish the connector ports weren't on the back. And the reason for that is when you have it sitting directly in front of a laptop, you really can't have it flush against the laptop front because of those ports being right there. You kind of have to move it off to the side a little bit to make room for the connection. I would rather have the connection on the side for that reason. But other than that, it's totally fine. I mean, I love all the different faders and functions that it has on it. I love the fact that you can program the MIDI controller from the MIDI controller itself and not have to use some other program like, you know, editing software or something like that. The thing I really hate about those editing programs is they never work. Like, you can't ever open them the same time you have Ableton open on PC. Because PCs basically lock your MIDI device to whatever app you're using at the time. So if you have Ableton open, like for example, on the Akai MPKs, if you wanted to make a change on the MIDI controller, you'd have to save your session in Ableton, shut it down, then open up the MPK editing software, make your changes there, close that, then open up Ableton again, and test and see if those changes even work the way you thought they were going to work. The fact that you can do all the editing right on this keyboard itself is a very, very big advantage in my opinion. I'm not super crazy about the ribbon controllers, but you know, on a controller this tiny, and it's not that they don't function. It's just, I don't know, they don't really give any like user feedback, you know, from, you know, touching them. It's just basically you're just touching the plastic, you know, on the actual device itself, as opposed to like an actual wheel where you can feel the spring move, you know, and kind of give you a little bit of tactile feedback when you're playing. These do not do that. But other than that, you know, everything else is great. It feels solid. It's very thin. It's probably like about an inch thin, which is really, really cool. And yeah, it's great. It looks cool. They come in 2 colors. You can get them in black and white. They're only $100 too. There's a link down below if you want to pick one up for yourself on Amazon. You can also buy them directly from Donner's website, which is just donnerdeal.com. And yeah, they're really cool. They have a lot of gear. Donner is like, you know, they're coming out with a lot of cool stuff these days. And I really appreciate them sending me this stuff to play around with, It's a lot of fun, and I actually really like this one. I'm going to get some use out of this for sure. It's a nice replacement for my old MPK that no longer functions, and I actually like this one a little bit better, to be honest. But anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. Don't forget to subscribe and click that bell icon so you get notified every time I upload new content, and I'll see you guys really soon.